Good morning, Magic players. Welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic the Gathering, brew up a cup of coffee, and be part of the conversation. We also do Decklist reviews, so if you've got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, like to share a spicy brew or try to fix your win condition, mana base, maybe the sideboard, bring it to us. Both myself and the community would love to give you some feedback. So brew up that cup of coffee and let's brew up some Magic conversation. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for March 12th, 2021. I am your host, of course, the Nikachu Merfolk Master. And yeah, let's have another great morning with everybody. Good morning, Mitch. Good morning, Swordman Josh. Thank God it's Friday. For me, it's like Friday every day. I don't really feel any affinity to any day of the week personally, but for those of you who have been waiting for Friday, waiting for that weekend, I always wonder, what about the people who work on the weekend? Is like Friday mean anything to them? It's like, it's just like, oh my God, Friday. MTG Ectoplasm, welcome. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Stephen, Frederick, Ray, James. Good morning, Ryan. Look, everyone's learning everybody else in the chat, Mitch and Ectoplasm. Morning, Ryan. How long do you think Uro and Lil Teferi have left before they get the Hammer 2? What are you talking about? Uro is banned. I have some news for you. I mean, this thing is super banned, unless you're talking about Legacy. In that case, I don't know if it's ever going to get banned there, but it's banned in Modern. It's banned. I hope that's some good news for you if you're looking for that. And Teferi, I don't know. It's who knows when that thing gets banned. Who else do we got here? Good morning, Fraser, Anders, Darth, Wet Willie, Chase. Good morning. Good morning, Alvin, Mathis, Thopter, Ugly Hood Rat, Yanchevik. Maybe talking about Legacy. And Mitch J, good morning. Continuing your route. Are you always on the route? Mitch has a truck driving job. Always driving. Do you sleep in the truck? They got the little bed behind the seats. I don't know if all trucks are like that. Gabe, yeah, Friday doesn't really mean anything to me. I work on the weekend and I'm a full-time student. You see? It's like, oh my God, Friday. Friday came around. It's like, damn it. I got to go to work soon. Thank God it's Monday. Good morning, Gabe. Yeah, good morning. Good morning, Georgios. Doing good? How about you? Immortal, good morning. Probably just means payday. All right, so that's I guess, you know what? Yeah, thank God it's payday then. That's how it should really be phrased. Everyone gets paid basically on Friday, more or less. Am I right? Am I right, people? Good morning, D-Tie Gaming. Yes, I do transport, and yes, I sleep. I have a sleeper cab with a TV. Interesting. You need the TV. You probably have your phone. You know, I treat my phone as my television at this point. I don't need cable. I just need the internet. Send me, how do I put it? Connect me to the internet. I want to see the internet through my eyes, basically. When are we going to get that? When are we going to get the iPhone 54 that like connects to your brain? Just latch it onto your brain and then you can like access the internet through like, I don't know, some sort of visual HUD within your eyes. That'd be interesting. Can't wait till the future gets here. Good morning, Ryan. Good morning, Mathieu. All right, so everyone, if you don't know how this works, if you've never been here, you got to be like Hub Imagine. And that is 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question. Helps me find your questions amongst all the comments that I see on this show. Or you can cheat the system on YouTube. You can donate with super chats. Your questions get pushed to the top. I get a notification. Although I don't always get a notification for donations under $3. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't know what the glitch is. But, Hub Imagine, what do you think about Tideshaper Mystic? Unfortunately, a bit too weak and a bit too clunky. There have been moments before the printing of Benthic Biomancer, I actually thought this card was good. So it's just a 1-mana, 1/1 Merfolk Wizard. Tap target land becomes a basic land type of your choice until end of turn. Play this ability only during your turn. That's the problem. You can only do it on your turn. If I can mana screw people, then that would be a totally different story. Like tap and turn their lands into whatever I want on their turn, but I can't do that. Just doesn't. It's not how it works. So all it is a sort of a very vulnerable 1/1 creature that like does only things on my turn. I don't think it's effective enough. I tried it a little bit. It's fine. It's fine, but it's not great. Jojo, thoughts on the blue-white living end list that showed up in the last league dump? Counterspells and cycling seem like a great combination. I haven't seen it, but I'm sure all it is a variation on mono blue living end, which I think is totally fine. You know, like as foretold, right? So you can cast living end for free, as I remember that deck being. But I'm sure it's possible. But how do they get counterspells? Cycling, I understand. The counterspells, I don't. Oh, no, but it's not using Cascade. It's using As Foretold, so... As Foretold, and what's the other one? What's the other card that enables this deck? It's As Foretold and always a second card. Like, how do we get Living End off? As Foretold... I don't remember the other card that helps enable Living End. Because it has to be 8. Or around-ish there. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it doesn't need to be. It's just a bunch of cyclers. You cycle towards your oh, is Electro dominant? No, but this is a blue-white one. Or maybe maybe it's using a Cascade spell. Maybe they're using... Oh, are they using Ardent Plea? Okay, so then how do they use the counter spells? That's a bit clunky, but I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure it's gonna work. Thank you very much, Tommy. All right, where was I? 42 Smeagol asks, still interested in your opinion on Morophon Sorin Sliver combo? I think it's janky, and that's all I have to say about it. It's very, very janky. That's all I gotta say. I will say this, like, there might be something between the Morophon and Sorin combo. I don't know about the Sliver part. Sorin and some vampire one day is gonna combo off big time. Get Sorin on here. The Sorin, I think, is a very powerful planeswalker. It's basically show and tell. But we need, like, better show and tell, like, payoffs. At the moment, the best, because what we have is -3. You may put a vampire creature card from your hand onto the battlefield. Very powerful effect for 3 mana. That's insane. But unfortunately, the only payoff card at the moment is Morophon. It's not the greatest. Like, it's not good by itself. Well, maybe it is. 7 mana. You can flood out into that. Enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Spells of the chosen type you cast cost 5 less to cast. The problem is for slivers, like, just cast your slivers. It's not hard to just cast your slivers. You don't need Morophon in play to empty your sliver hand. And other creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+1. I don't think this is a great payoff overall. I just don't think it's a great payoff. So it's a deck, but it's a jank deck. I don't think it's competitive. Prismatic, want to build a dragon deck. What is the best dragon card currently in your opinion? Best dragon card, easily Glorybringer. Because the Glorybringer is good aggression. Let me get Glorybringer up here. Actually sees modern play. Literally sees modern play. So we got Glorybringer here. 4/4 flyer, 5 mana, flying haste. But you can kill creatures, and that's what makes this card so good. So you can attack, you can exert it, deal 4 damage to a creature, and I mean, what else? What else would you want? I think the second best one, I think it's Thunderbreak Regent. I don't know if this is actually great, but you get some value if your opponent tries to kill it. It's still for 4 mana, 4/4 flyer. I think that's pretty on par. Flying whenever a dragon you control becomes the target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, Thunderbreak Regent deals 3 damage to that player. So if they try to answer this thing, they take damage. They take damage. Matsuye, hello. Do you have a favorite MTG artist? Yes, but it's escaping my head. Well, maybe I'll say Una Fricker, but only because of the Thieving Magpie. Not a huge fan of Una Fricker outside of that. So if we go look at the Thieving Magpie. I mean, I just love this art. Let's look at the art crop. I think this is gorgeous. It's so cute. I mean, this is how I got into the game. But unfortunately, this is the only art that I passionately love about Una Fricker. Una Fricker has done many other arts, like Wasteland, for example. She did Wasteland. Can't say I love Wasteland, though. I mean, it looks like a Wasteland, but somehow this is not this Wasteland, the OG Wasteland. There we go. Whatever, Tempest Remastered is fine. Can't say I love this art. And maybe that's the point, because it's a wasteland. There's nothing interesting about it. But anyway, that's my best answer on the fly. Anders, do you think Cleansing Wildfire is better than Blood Moon in Mardu sideboard against Tron? Probably, because you can't ramp it out, and you need to be able to answer Tron by turn 2, not by turn 3, because if you're on the draw, Blood Moon is not good enough. You probably should use a combination of both, though, because if you are... if you're playing Mardu, I imagine Blood Moon is still a really strong card against all the other decks. But probably the more effective card is Cleansing Wildfire. And you're like more of a controlling deck. You're more mid-rangey. You're not fast, so you can't take advantage of Blood Moon as well. Because if you play Blood Moon, it's great if you can close the game out really quickly. Because really, if your opponent just plays land, like 4th land drop, Oblivion Stone, you put some more. You don't put anything else on the battlefield. Then they play the 5th land drop and crack the Oblivion Stone. They got their Tron mana back. Like Blood Moon needs to be followed up with a fast clock against Tron for it to be really effective. Spencer Ward, would Rootwater Thief be a good piece of tech for Merfolk if it was printed into Modern? No, I think Rootwater Thief is terrible. I don't even think it's good in Commander. I think this is a jank card. This is a very jank card. So whenever Rootwater Thief deals combat damage to a player, you can pay 2. If you do, search that player's library for a card, remove it from the game, then that player shuffles their library. I think this is too clunky. You have to pay. If it was for free, maybe we're talking, but it's not free. You have to pay 2 mana. I don't want to do that. I mean, I guess if everyone else at the table, at the commander table, backs you up and say, hey, we'll give you protection as you tap out to attack with this thing, maybe it works. But outside of that, I actually think this is very poor. I don't even like it for Commander. I most definitely don't like it for Modern. Swans, I think this means Swan Song or Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce doesn't give your opponent a threat. Swan Song. Okay, we'll look at both. Let's look at Swan Song. Swan Song, very underrated card. Maybe the problem is it doesn't have a good home right now. Counter target enchantment, instant, or sorcery spell. Its controller creates a 2/2 blue bird creature token with flying. It's good, very good against combo decks. Problem is most combo decks now revolve around creatures, so this is not so good anymore. Like it's good against spell-based, like the turn that they try to combo off. It's good, like against classic Scapeshift decks. The problem is this blue bird will kill you. I mean, the damage matters. It's a blocker. It's actually quite a nuisance against any general decks. Like, if you want to bring this in again, it's not good. It's not. I would say I would bring this in against Burn, but I'm not happy about it because the 2/2 still deals damage and contributes to hurting you. Whereas this doesn't even counter Planeswalkers. Spell Pierce, no downside, so I can play this card early on in the game. Worse late in the game, of course, but I can play it early on in the game and it will never come back and kill me, basically. So I prefer Spell Pierce. Swan Song, as a sideboard card, Spell Pierce by default, as main or sideboard. Good morning, Marcel. Has Modern meta stabilized? Sort of. I think so. I think it's a little bit in flux, but I think it's stabilized. I mean, this is sort of what the meta looks like. Let's look at the last 14 days. It might be more relevant. Ooh, Amulet Titan just coming back out of nowhere. Death and Taxes is up here. I'm still not seeing that much Amulet in the leagues, but I haven't played that much. And Mill is definitely a deck. It's definitely up there. And Jund. What the hell's going on here? And Jund Death Shadow definitely is up there. Yeah, we have to be prepared for Jund Death Shadow big time. David, what would you like to see in Modern Horizons 2 outside of Counterspell and a Merfolk 1-drop? Rishadan Port, or, I mean, what do I really want? Back to Basics. That would be great. They won't give it to me, but Back to Basics. Back to Basics would just put like a second Blood Moon into the format. It's off everyone playing with non-basics. Non-basic lands don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Non-basic lands. Screw those non-basic lands. MTG Ectoplasm. Have you seen Neuralink? It's a company by Elon Musk that will impact a chip into your brain. I haven't seen it, but I remember Elon Musk talking about some stuff like this. Thopter Boy, how do you feel about Shadowmoor Merfolk? I personally love the ugly catfish. Oh god, you mean like let's look like Marrow Reader. I don't really like the ugly looking stuff. Oh, you mean like, are you talking about like Curse Catcher? Like this? I didn't mind Curse Catcher for some reason, but I mean, he is a pretty ugly merfolk in my opinion. If you really pay attention, he's not very pretty. It's not like I want to kiss him or anything, all right, you know? Can't kiss that face. Chase asks, is there any good way to play against Force Negation? Right now, my strategy is praying and hoping I have a remand. I don't know what your strategy is, but the easiest way to play around Force Negation is play on your opponent's turn. Simple as that. Play all your spells on your opponent's turn. Maybe you're playing a deck that does not require it. I mean, if you have remand in your deck, what you can do is your opponent will 2-for-1 themselves to play Force Negation, and ideally you remand your own spell back to your hand. So you draw a card and you get to keep your spell instead of remanding your opponent's. Because if you remand your opponent's Force Negation, then they can pitch another blue card and do it all over again. So what you really want to do is you play your, I guess, spell that you want resolve. They play Force Negation. You remand your original spell because you can remand your own spell. It goes back to your hand. You draw a card. They still lost 2 cards, and then you wait next turn to play the spell again. It's massive card advantage. That's my best bet for it. Or play at instant speed on your opponent's turn. Best way to overload a Force Negation. Emperor Sakis, good morning, Nikachu. Do you think Root Water I answer this. Don't double your questions, people. You confuse me. James, my buddy is getting into MTG for the first time. He went with mono red dragon type. Can a mono red dragon stack hold up in modern? As far as I know, no. Not like there is no mono red dragon stack. I mean, there has been some like mono red prison decks that try to finish the opponent off with dragons. Maybe some Scred control decks that play dragons, but you're not going to get very far because the dragons are too clunky by themselves. Like that Thunderbreak Regent, 4 mana. That's a 4 mana spell, and all the other dragons are like 5-6 mana. So you got to take like some sort of red based control deck, mono red prison, maybe blue red prison, maybe blue moon, and then throw some dragons in as a win condition. I think you could do that. That would be totally fine. Okay, I'm gonna jump a little bit to the middle for anyone who just showed up. I want to give some chance to everybody's questions. Some people who come early, they're rewarded. Blue Mage Mikey. Do you think Gideon of the Trials is a well-positioned win condition in control archetypes such as Blue, White, or Esper? I don't think so. It's not really a win condition. It's very weak, very small. I don't know why it would be well-positioned right now. So here's the Gideon of the Trials, 3 mana for 3 loyalty Planeswalker. It's just too small, too weak. And yeah, you can make it into a human soldier, but I don't think it's enough. And the emblem isn't worth very much because people just kill the Gideon and then kill you. It's like it's an okay Planeswalker, but it's no Teferi Time Raveler. You know what I mean? So I mean, if you're talking about Blue, White, or Esper, I mean, this just should be Teferi Time Raveler in this slot. There's no way that this is better than Teferi Time Raveler. And I don't know if you want this in addition. This card is seeing some play right now because of the new inverter deck that's being adapted from Ad Nauseam. Because the emblem, as long as you control a Gideon Planeswalker, you can't lose the game, is very relevant to them. Because they want to play something like Spoils of the Vault, empty their library, and then combo off with Thassa's Oracle. So just seeing some play, but in a control archetype, I don't think this is... It's playable, but it's not as good as the other options that you have right now. Waves with the super chat. Thank you very much, Waves. What are your thoughts on the standard power creep affecting non-rotating formats? Example, Karn and Narset in Legacy, Vintage, Uro, and Tybalt in Modern. I have a feeling Karn did see play in like Standard and stuff like that, but like I think it was more impactful in formats like Modern, where there's just a greater pool of cards you can use as a artifact toolbox. So I found it interesting to use these examples because I think the more, things like Uro are bigger problems than anything else. But anyway, so it's not good. Like it's not good. So personally for me, I don't mind change. I don't mind when they rock the non-rotating formats a lot. But if there's one thing that I've seen over the years, it's that people hate change. Like people got into Modern and Legacy because it doesn't change. Like that's why people love the fact that it doesn't rotate. People hate change. So when this change happens, it should be really slow. And so it doesn't matter to me one way or another if the format's changing all the time or not changing at all. But for the most part, if you want to keep the non-rotating players more appeased, then you got to make sure that changes are much more slow paced. And what they could do is there not some way to make some like real big bomb cards in standard by just making the card like, what if, for example, your bomb card in standard was 6 mana and things just started to get playable at 3 mana or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be a way of making cards big and flashy and powerful, but just unplayable for the other formats. I don't know. They got to slow down standard. Reed, thank you very much for the $2, the super chat. Just wanted to say I enjoy your videos. Thank you very much, Reed. I really appreciate it. We're going to keep the videos running and rolling for eternity. Nope. I'm not slowing down anytime soon. Alvin, can Koski, Bearer of Secrets, be played in Merfolk? Probably not. Good question. I mean, I never really thought about it. Can't be countered. I mean, in fact, we've got something similar to this for Merfolk, but this is indestructible. Huh. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. You got me thinking. For 4 mana, though, it's not doing enough, I think, for Merfolk. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. That we've got, what is it called? Shore floor something. I don't know, or I can't remember. What is the Merfolk? Whenever you deal damage to a player, you draw a card. Seafloor. Seafloor. We have a 4 mana 2/3 creature. Whenever a Merfolk you control deals combat damage to a player, draw a card. Look at this. This is ridiculous. So they give us this. They are more than willing to do this. And any creature that deals combat damage to a player draws a card. But they give Merfolk this shit. You know, I don't know how many times I see just a strict upgrade in the non-Merfolk synergy. This isn't even just squirrels, for fuck's sakes. This is indestructible, can't be countered. This one can be countered, not indestructible. Has to be a Merfolk that deals combat damage. If I deal damage with Thassa, it doesn't mean shit. Can't believe this. This is a good question. I don't know what the answer is. I never thought about it. Very interesting. Very interesting idea. My only fear is that maybe it's a good sideboard card. And it's indestructible, so it can like block a Death Shadow all day. This is a great idea. This could be a great idea. I don't know. Maybe I should throw that in the sideboard. Like, it'd be good against control. Well, I don't want more help against control, but maybe it's good against like Shadow. Force them to have what's it called? Force them to have Temur Battle Rage or Bust. Temur Battle Rage or Bust. What's the best Planeswalker removal? Creatures. But outside of that, probably Assassin's Trophy is your best bet. Assassin's Trophy is like, it's good at beating Planeswalkers, but it's good at beating anything. So you can blow up anything. You can blow anything up with Assassin's Trophy. You're just lucky I saw your question. Why do you think the Oops decks are gone? I didn't thought they rely on the monkey that much. They're still around. People are just playing it less, though. The deck is still really, really strong. They didn't rely on the monkey that much. Yeah, it gave them some turn 2 kills, but outside of that, the deck is still there. The deck didn't go away. People are probably just looking at other decks right now. Like, that deck demands so much. How do I want to put this? Like, it's still a fragile combo deck. I mean, if you have the interaction, it's dead. So maybe people just have the interaction right now. I wouldn't say it was like one of the most super popular decks before Simian Spirit Guide got banned, but it's certainly still around. It'll be a deck. MTG Ectoplasm. Why doesn't Kami a False Hope see play in Modern? I know what this is. But first off, there are some decks that play this. It was like some sort of Soul Sisters or not Soul Sisters. There's There's a life gain control deck. Cameo False Hope. Sacrifice it. Prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. So now the bottom line thing is that this card is just a fog. Fog is unplayable. So like the real question you got to ask yourself is, why don't we see this played in Modern? If we can get here. So why don't we see this card in Modern? The answer is it's unplayable. So you just spend a turn fogging your opponent, but you haven't dealt with the problem because you still have to deal with it next turn. And Kami of the False Hope is in this very similar situation. Interesting though, it's a spirit. It is a spirit. So that does have synergy with spirits, and you would know better than anyone else, wouldn't you, MTG Ectoplasm? That is very interesting. So it's competing. Maybe this could be a sideboard card when you're up against, I don't know, humans or something. It's a race, and you, instead of aggressively trying to win immediately, you have an option to like sacrifice Kami of the False Hope to just buy yourself a turn. But then again, your opponent can easily interact with this, like just killing it. Like, okay, I'm about to attack on my turn. At end of turn, bolt Kami of False Hope or something like that. It's a little bit more interesting because it is specifically a spirit, but it's still a very vulnerable, weak sort of card. That like the effect is really bad. It's not worth it. Interesting that it's available in spirits. Benny asks, there's a Lurrus Tybalt Bring to Light deck going around in Pioneer. Do you think it could make its way to Modern? It already is in Modern. Not doing as well as it is in Pioneer, but it's already in Modern. I don't know about the Lurrus part. It's not using Lurrus. It's using it has other permanents like what's it called? Omnath. Omnath is the card I was thinking about. It's like an Omnath Bring to Light Scape Shift deck. So it exists, but not that great. Maybe the Lurrus build could make its way to Modern if someone wants to make it a thing. I will say, any deck that's like really good in a format has to bleed into another format. Always happens. Oh, I read this one. What is your favorite equipment? Paradise Mantle. Because it gives me a janky combo with Pure Sight Marrow. That's my favorite element. That's my favorite equipment. It's probably not the answer you thought I was gonna answer, but that's the answer. Thoughts on Mono Red? Mono Red what? Burn? Prowess? Gotta be more specific than this. Lights, not a question, but Arena made it onto mobile if you maybe haven't seen or tried it out. I haven't tried it out, and I'll tell you why, because I have an iPhone. I have an iPhone. They made it for only very specific high-end Android devices. So, okay, fuck them. I'm not going to play Arena on my phone yet. Thanks, Wizards. Shafting the iOS Apple customers. Which I think is a big mistake. But I was thinking about it. Why are they catering to Android users that want everything for free when they should when they should be focusing on the Apple users that pay with money? I mean, you don't market to homeless people. You market to people who have like high-end jobs. But then I thought, you know what? At the moment, it's only the high-end Samsung phones that are eligible at the moment. So, or the high-end Android phones that are eligible at the moment to run Arena. So probably it ends up working out anyway. See what people have plug parallels into. Well, not on the iPhone. It doesn't work like that. I can do that on Apple. I can do it on an actual Mac computer. The Apple development license was too expensive for Arena penny budget? Yeah, maybe. Anyway, back to the questions. What's your chess rating? Got to be more specific than that. I have like a Blitz rating. I don't know. I think my rating on chess.com for Blitz is around 2100. My FIDE rating is like 2070. My US rating, I think, is like a little under 2200, like maybe 2190 something. My Canadian rating is 2270 something. Those are all my ratings. Love to play in more FIDE events to push my rating up, though. Squirrels or rats? Squirrels. They're cuter. You know, we have rats in this game. Why don't we have mice? Matsie asks, Assassin Trophy or Abrupt Decay in Abzan mid-range. Also, is Scourge playable in Abzan Death Shadow, or should I build a more control-like deck without it? No, you can play Scourge in Abzan Death Shadow. I mean, Assassin's Trophy versus Abrupt Decay. Lean more on Assassin's Trophy when there is more Tron in the metagame. Eldrazi, Tron, and you can lean a little bit more on Abrupt Decay if there are more counterspells in the metagame. That's how I would look at it. I mean, they're both very playable cards. I think most black-green X players, though, they lean on Assassin's Trophy for the most part because it's just a versatile spell. Do you recommend investing on reserved list cards? I do not like giving financial advice to people, but I will say that reserved list cards, like, I don't want to say all reserve list cards, like, and I could be wrong about this. There's a lot of shitty reserve list cards out there, but anything that's remotely playable is very likely going to increase in price in the long run. Like, we're talking the long run. When I mean long run, I mean like if you bought it and threw it into a shoebox and waited 15 years, yeah, it'll be worth more than what you spent on it. Mr. Wine, should Jund be playing Lurrus in the main deck and less Bloodbraid Elf? Recur Mishra's Bauble and play Seal of Fire? I think those are more aggressive builds. Like, I think Lurrus makes a lot more sense than Bloodbraid Elf. I think Bloodbraid Elf is grossly overrated. But then then again, like, Seal of Fire isn't a very good payoff if it's not well positioned. Like, if it can't kill anything, then I don't think it's worth it. But I think personally, as a creature-based deck, I have a lot more trouble playing against like decks that play Lurrus. But maybe only if it's in as a companion. It's a tough question to answer. I want to say Lurrus. I would, if I could, play Lurrus as a companion in Jund. I think that would be ideal because you want the extra card if you can get it. Although you probably have to sacrifice on like Liliana the Veil, right? So I'm not sure, actually, to be honest. I don't know what. I would love to hear like a Jund master give their opinion on that one. What do you think is needed to slow down modern format a turn or two, like further? Like, it's pretty slow right now. It's doing pretty well. I think so long as Thoughtseize decks are on top, I think that is a good way to slow the format down, because they spend the first few turns ripping apart your hand, then they play some creatures, then they go to attack. I think that so long as Thoughtseize decks are on top, that's a good sign that the format is relatively slow, because I don't know any super fast hyper Thoughtseize decks. I mean, the Death Shadow decks are pretty fast, but they're slow enough that they still win by like turn 4, not turn 2, turn 3. And they slow everyone else down. What about the White Fog / some Rakdos Charm you played on Magic the Gathering Online? What do you mean White Fog? You mean the Kami card? Not sure what this is in reference to. Sorry about that. Why does Pause for Reflection not played in Modern? It seems people love to ask questions like, why doesn't this card see play in Modern? But you know what? It's a lot easier for me to detect than most people, I guess. I mean, I remember back when I used to start playing, it's like every card look amazing. Why doesn't this card see play? This is great. Let's all read this one together. I've never seen this card before. 3 mana, Convoke. Prevent all combat damage that will be dealt this turn, because the effect is useless. That's why. It's just, it doesn't see play. Because the fogging is not useful. It is not strategically relevant. This, if you want to slow the opponent down, just make it a removal spell. Like, it is, I guess what it comes down to is fog effects are narrow. They're so narrow. It's like only good on a situation where your opponent has a lot of creatures and they're attacking you, and B, on the turn that it's lethal. And then worse than that, you are delaying the inevitable by 1 turn. So you're almost dead. You fog. Like, because it's good nowhere else. It's not like your opponent attacks for 2 with a Grizzly Bear and you want to fog it. And if you did, you might as well have had a removal spell instead, right? So its fog effects are very situational, and then just straight up bad for that situation. Straight bad. That's why we don't see fog effects competitive. Why doesn't Modern Spirits run Geist of St. Traff? Seems like a strong top-end beater for a tribe of such small threats. Because their 3-drop slot is clogged. Some versions did, and it probably is still a good sideboard card. But Geist of St. Traff is a 3-mana spell. And it's not better than the other 3-mana spells. Like, it doesn't impact the board or anything like that. So let's look at Geist for a second. Strong card, but like right now it's just being pushed out by all the other strong 3-mana cards. See? So 3 mana, 2/2 creature, hexproof, attacks get a 4/4 spirit. But they have so many better cards. They got Spell Queller, which they need for like combo and control. Here's Spell Queller, that's 3 mana. Then they got Drog Skull Captain. Was it OL? I'll never get this right. 3 mana. 2/2 creature, flying. Other spirits get +1/+1 hexproof. That's like mandatory to push damage. And then they have Skyclave Apparition. So just a more effective interactive card. Oh, you have Karn the Great Creator? Okay, I'm going to exile it. Oh, you have Ensnaring Bridge? I'm going to exile it. So the thing is Geist of St. Traff good? Yeah. But at 3 mana, it's getting pushed out by all the other great 3-mana cards in Spirits. In my opinion. That's how I look at it. The Franchise says, just want to say that your videos deserve more clout. Just hearing the questions and your answers helps to keep my mind fresh. You're welcome. Yes, bring Nikachu more people. More followers. More fame and everything. Bring them my way. Matthias says, do you think Lava Dart is a fair card in Modern? Asking because it seems to turn almost every 1 toughness creature into garbage. If by garbage, I think, I know you mean by garbage, but yes, it turns them into an absolute pain in the ass. It's probably a fair Magic card. I don't know. Maybe it's not. Like, it has a free effect. Like, you can cast it. Like, let's get Lava Dart here. I don't... Like, I want to say this is a fair card, but not really. It's turned these prowess decks into assholes. And it does cheat on mana. Like, it does have... The flashback, it looks like it's a downside, but not really. It really isn't that much of a downside. It turns all these fucking prowess creatures into enormous creatures. Just shows how powerful prowess is on 1-drops and 2-drops. Like, maybe that's a mistake. Like, there aren't that many 1-mana prowess creatures, but the ones that exist are insane, are highly played. Soulscar Mage, Swift Spear, then there's Sprite Dragon, which should have prowess. I don't know. You put a good point. I don't like Lava Dart myself. I think it's a bullshit card. I think it should have been a sorcery. The funny thing is, though, they didn't design this card. This is like an old card. This is like a super old card. It comes from Judgment. It's like they didn't make this card. Oh my god, this came back from the past. Interesting. This card saw like basically no play in Legacy, no play anywhere, but it's a powerhouse in Modern. I feel for you. I feel for you. What do you think about Hokkori in Modern? Seems like the topic of today is, what do you think of this card in Modern? Hokkori, Dusk Drinker. And I guess Hokkori is thirsty. This looks creepy as fuck. Look, there's an eye, an eye, an eye. This mouth. Oh, are these not eyes? Maybe these aren't eyes. Look like eyes. Now I can see the real eyes. They're here and here. Lands don't untap during their controller's untap steps. Well, that's pretty powerful. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls. So this is just a Rising Waters and a creature. Where do you play this, though? That's the problem. And how do you use it? It's a pretty powerful effect, but it's, the creature is very vulnerable. It's only a 2/2 at 4 mana. And how do you use it? It's a strong effect, though. This is a very strong effect. Unfortunately, they are still allowed to untap a land. Reminds me of Rising Waters. Similar thing, but this is an enchantment. You can't destroy this so easily, so this is a very powerful card. Lands don't untap during their controller's untap steps. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player untaps a land he or she controls. This is what like a reserve list card would have looked like if it was printed a little bit earlier. What do you think of Elves in Modern? Like, sort of playable, but not really. They had a chance, and it looks like they didn't succeed with all the new upgrades that they got. Still, removal, it just beats the snot out of them. They got to solve that problem with the removal. Xenek asks, what do you think about cheating out Tibalt using Release to the Wind? I don't know what that is. You can do that? Exile target non-land permanent. For as long as that card remains exiled, its owner may cast it without paying its mana cost. I think this is not good because, okay, Release to the Wind, target your... I think what you want to do is you want to target the Valky, and then in response, they kill your Valky, and that's it. That's it. You got 2 for 1. 2 for 1 central. You don't want to be in that position. And how else do you use this card, by the way, outside of trying to cheat Valky into Tibalt Cosmic Imposter? I don't think you can. I don't think you can. At least I don't know how. You gotta show me what the deck list looks like. But it looks a little too janky, in my opinion. Do you play Commanders? Yeah, I play a little Commander. Just with my close friends. And if you do, what deck do you have? I have a Thassa's Oracle. Sorry, not Thassa's Oracle. Thassa, God of the Sea, Mono Blue Merfolk deck. Georgios, I know you are currently interested only in Modern, but I would love to see an updated Merfolk list for Historic. I don't think I would change very much, though. One day we'll go back to Historic. Falcon Wrath Aristocrat, playable in Modern. I can't remember what this is. Falcon. Oh, this thing. Well, let me read this again. Always remember, 4 mana in Modern, that's very expensive. Flying Haste, sacrifice a creature. Falcon Wrath Aristocrat gains indestructible until end of turn. If the sacrificed creature is a human, put a +1/+1 counter on Falcon Wrath Aristocrat. It's probably not that great, to be honest. It doesn't have. It's just a random Flying Haste creature. Not that amazing. Nothing impressive, really. It doesn't interact with the battlefield. It's just a Flying Haste creature. All right, let's jump to... What is your feeling on the Omnath Scapeshift list that has been seeing play recently? I don't know exactly which one you're talking about. If you're talking about the Bring to Light one with Tibalt, I think it's playable. Of course, it's playable. Nick asks, dude, do you talk about how epic and powerful Scarab God is? Like, it's a fine card. But even in, like, the blue-black controlled... Like, it's a good card, probably outside of Modern, but in Modern, maybe it's not good enough. Like, it's maybe a good card on a budget. I don't even remember how much Scarab God costs in terms of price. Well, it's not even a very good budget card. Got reprinted. Or reprinted a lot. It's a good card. It's a good card, but Dimir decks aren't playing it in Modern, one reason or another. Is Grixis Control a great deck in Modern? Not really. It has to prove itself. It used to be a really good deck a long time ago, but right now it's petered off significantly in favor of like more blue-white, blue-black Esper Control decks. You don't get a good payoff. But there are some builds that impress me, like ones that use Luris in the sideboard as a companion. I thought those were very impressive. Those have really good card advantage. But I don't know what it's missing from really taking off. Playable deck, but I can't call it a great deck in Modern. I mean, it's nowhere to be seen in these, like, even in the metagame here. Like, where's Grixis? I don't know how far I have to go down to find Grixis in the metagame. You played against a deck full of white fog cards, caused that dealt damage for each creature you had / played. You were playing Goblin Prison. I don't know what this is in reference to. I think I know what you're talking about, but that was a deck that was Well, first off, we don't know if that deck was proven. Like, did it go 5-0 or anything? Yeah, there was this Trespasser Curse deck that I played against, and I lost. But partially, I didn't know what I was up against. I didn't know what I was supposed to play around, and I just got hosed by it. I died before I could deal enough damage to my opponent. But that doesn't necessarily mean that fog cards in general are good. Okay, so I think it's time for deck list review. So get your deck list ready, people. Go check out my description. In my description is a link to my Discord. Go join my Discord. In the Discord, there is a channel called Deck List Review, and there you can go find there. Then you submit your deck list using the command !review deck space. Give the URL to your deck list, and you'll be eligible at random to be chosen for deck list review. And as people are submitting their deck lists, I better do a quick sweep for no super chats here. As people are submitting their deck list, we are going to thank our sponsor, starting with FusionGamingOnline.com, my favorite local game store. It's a Canadian local game store. You can pre-order Time Spiral Remastered or get singles. Go get the single, pre-order the singles or the sealed product. The deal of the week this week: get plus 35% off. Get an extra plus 35% in the trade-in bonus. Get store credit when you sell your cards to FusionGamingOnline.com. And whenever you purchase anything from FusionGamingOnline.com, don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu. Get 5% off. Get 5% off all your purchases at FusionGamingOnline.com. And we're going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online and bring all your deck lists to life. If you want to try and tinker and try to make your deck a real deck, what better way to play test than by renting the cards from Mana Traders? You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 3 months using my coupon code Nikachu. What are your thoughts on adding between Mardu and Rakdos mid-range in Modern? Is it worth adding the white? For the most part, I don't think it's actually worth adding the white, but, well, no, that's not true. I think adding the white for Stoneforge Mystic makes some sense. Makes a lot of sense. Like, but it's two different decks, though. I mean, you choose what you want. I think they're both in the same sort of category. Fraser with the super chat. Thank you very much, Fraser. Just to be clear, in no way, I in no way think fogs are playable. It was just funny that the deck existed and you played against it. And people love that deck. Like, they love the fact that, you know, it existed. People were asking about the list in chat. You know, hey, what is this spicy brew? It's like something that you would find on Coffee and MTG. Do you think the price of allied fetch lands are going to go down along the enemy fetch lands with the reprint in Modern Horizons 2? Asking exclusively for Magic the Gathering Online. I don't think the allied fetch lands will necessarily go down very much along with the enemy fetch lands. I think specifically the enemy fetch lands will just go down, in my opinion. Any site to play for free? You mean Magic? There's Cockatrice and... But you're getting what you pay for. There's Cockatrice and... What's the other one? There's another one. As I take a sip of my coffee. Help me, people. There are 2 free ways to play Magic online. I can't remember the other one. It's Cockatrice and something else. Can't remember, though. Is it, the name escapes? Because I don't play there. For the most... it's not Spell Table. I know what you're talking about, but there's like a digital way of playing online. You can play on Untap? I didn't know that. Forge? I didn't even heard of that one. X-Mage is what I was thinking about. Yeah, and X-Mage. These are the 2 places you can play absolutely for free. But you get what you pay for. You're going to be up against people who also want to play for free. And and Cockatrice is not exactly lovely to look at. Look, now everyone's here. Oh yeah, an Arena. You can play on Arena for free. Go check out Arena, of course. Well, Arena is free. Arena is totally free. You literally could grind Arena into a real tier deck and then play from there. Arena definitely is free. You literally don't need to pay shit, and you actually could eventually grind your way. You got to play like every day though to grind those rewards though. Grind the rewards. Why am I suggesting? I was thinking like if playing Modern, because you can't play Modern on Arena. Yeah, Arena is completely free. I highly recommend dumping like $100 to give yourself a head start, but like you can technically grind for free into an actual deck. It might take you like 3 months to do it, and then after that, just play in Historic and then grind rewards for eternity. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you love playing Magic, you're gonna grind anyway. All right, let's get to the deck lists. It's hilarious. We were naming everything except Arena for a second. Okay, Gregarg X. Congratulations, you're the next contestant on Decklist Review. Okay, we have Green-White Company in Historic. Soul Warden, so it's like basically Soul Sisters, but with Collected Company. Soul Warden, Speaker of the Heavens, Vigilance Lifelink, create a 4/4 White Angel creature token with flying. Activate this ability only if you have at least 7 more life than your starting life total, and only any time you could cast a sorcery. Bishop of Wings, whenever an angel enters the battlefield under your control, gain 4 life. Whenever an angel you control dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Youthful Valkyrie. Flying, whenever another angel enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Youthful Valkyrie. And it's an angel. We have a 2-mana angel here. That's not too bad. Redain, God of Worthy. Flying, Vigilance, Snowlands, your opponent's control, enter the battlefield tapped. Non-creature spells with your opponent's control. Oh, sorry. Non-creature spells your opponents can cast with confirmed mana cost 4 or greater, cost 2 more to cast. And there's like an artifact side. Resplendent Angel. Actually, this is the closest I've ever seen to an angel deck. Flying at the beginning of each end step, if you gain 5 or more life this turn, create a 4/4 white angel creature token with flying and vigilance. Also, the ability 6 mana until end of turn gets +2/+2 in lifelink. Righteous Valkyrie, flying. Whenever another angel or cleric enters the battlefield under your control, you gain life equal to that creature's toughness, as long as you have at least 7 or more life. Sorry, 7 life more than your starting life total. Creatures you control get +2/+2, and Skyclave Apparition. This is very interesting. In Ajani, Strength with the Pride, you gain life equal to the number of creatures you control plus the number of planeswalkers you control. -2. Create an Ajani Pridemate, basically. And 0, if you have at least 15 life, more than your starting life total, exile Ajani Strength of the Pride and each artifact creature your opponent controls. Okay, interesting. Yeah, it's basically Angel Company. Well, I mean, everything is weak to sweepers, you know. I mean, you're just going all in here. The question I would be, are you weak to rack, like the maybe you're not. I was thinking, are you weak to the Jund Sacrifice deck? But most things are above 1 toughness, right? Just these two are very small. Everything else is large. You have you're literally splashing green for Collected Company. Oh, but you have some sideboard cards. Heroic Intervention. Yasharn, Implaceable Earth. ETB, search your library for a basic. Looks like a Forest or Plains. Players can't pay life or sacrifice non-land permanents to cast spells or activate abilities. That's powerful. That's very, very powerful. Tell those sacrifice decks to go fuck themselves. Rest in Peace, Heroic Intervention, Helid's Intervention, destroy target artifact and or enchantments, target player gains twice X life, and Baffling End. This deck is great. This deck is great. I have nothing. I have absolutely nothing to suggest here. I mean, you've got all your bases covered. This deck is very good. And you see that, you know, you're prepared for the historic metagame. The deck is fine. Add Ether Vial? Well, you can't. This is historic. Can't add Ether Vial in historic. Well, it's fine. I mean, most of the time you're going to be just looking for basic planes anyway. Curve is quite heavy on 3. Yeah, but you I mean, it's a collected company deck, right? So you sort of, I don't want to say you want to go out of your way to play 3-drops, but the idea is that you collected company into your 3-drops and get that value. I don't think it's that bad. Like, it's like 14 cards. That's not that bad at 3 mana. Currently struggling in Diamond with it. There is, well, I don't know if you really need a basic forest in this deck, because if you cast this thing by 4 mana, you don't really need the forest. I don't think. Yeah, this is a historic deck. So you're struggling in Diamond. So the real question is, what are you struggling against? Georgios, what are you struggling against? Like, what are you not beating? What's the problem? And as Giorgio answers the question, Genjo Pump asks, do you think that Mill would be a perfectly acceptable deck to buy into for a Magic the Gathering Online beginner? Not really. I think Mill is more complicated than it looks. It's not so simple as like milling your opponent out and like calling it GG. I think it's a tighter deck to play than people would think. Like, if you want to, for a beginner, if you think it's a fun deck to play, go for it. But I think it's a harder deck to play than most people realize, because it's a pseudo control deck as well. A much easier deck to play, of course, is Burn. Or even Prowess is probably not that bad. Like, Is It Blitz probably is also an acceptable deck for most beginners to play. Like, it's a they would still be powerful decks. Whereas Mill, I don't think is that powerful of a deck. You got to be careful with Mill. But, I mean, I guess it's fine. It's not the worst. Control decks mainly, damn those sweepers. Okay, play more Heroic Intervention. It's the best thing I can suggest. More Heroic Intervention. Maybe more is there any other indestructible spells that we can play? Maybe some more Planeswalkers in the sideboard. Well, I don't know if I want a main board Heroic Intervention. Now, mind you, okay, how can we beat? Maybe we do main deck, but the problem is, what do you cut out? Like a Johnny? Or maybe we need a better Planeswalker. Like, what's a better Planeswalker? Do you agree that Blue Control in Modern needs an instant to destroy Planeswalkers? No, not in the slightest. Blue Control has everything. Is there a better Ajani? Is there a better Planeswalker we can play? Prismatic, thanks for your content. Great work. You're welcome. Thank you very much, Prismatic. I really appreciate the super chat. Oh, yeah. Oh, I don't remember. I think it isn't Selfless Spirit, but maybe. Not legal and historic. Swing and a miss. Swing and a miss. How to make this deck better against the M9. What's the M19 of Johnny? A Johnny, adversary of tyrants. Put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. Return target creature with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. But like, actually, but you only get to pull this off like maybe once or twice. Jacob, anything is playable for Modern FNM if you want. It's just that Lantern has been like shafted. Its strategy is not as good anymore as people like use the graveyard more, and it doesn't have Mox Opal. Love Struck Beast? I don't know about that one. Well, we're splashing green. Oh, you want to go the other way around. Because you do have the option to go blue. Like, you can splash any color you want, basically, because you're not really committed with Collected Company at all. You would have access. That's true. Heliod is a very interesting card. Maybe Heliod is better than Ajani and then this thing. Or, hold on, non-creature spells your opponents cast will convert mana cost 4 or greater, cost 2 more to cast. Do we need more? This looks like it should be good against control, right? Because it prevents them from playing sweepers. But then maybe they just answer this card and then go about their business. Let's look quickly at Heliod. Too many. I'm sure it's Heliod Suncrowned. It's indestructible. So the deal is, and you only need a devotion of 5 to turn it into a creature again. So like the advantage with this is if they sweep the board, you can just come back with just like dumping your hand, and then hopefully this thing will be active enough and blow the opponent away. The other side of this thing is gas. Okay, hold on. Let's look up. Where's the other side of this? Because I don't remember. If a source an opponent controls would deal damage to you or permanent you control, prevent 1 of that damage. Oh yeah, that's good against red-based decks. Whenever you or another permanent you control becomes the target of a spell or ability opponent controls, counter that spell or ability unless its controller pays 1. So basically, it taxes them. They have to pay 1, plus it prevents like 1 of the damage. That's very taxing. You can play both sides too. Snowlands opponent's control enter the battlefield tap. Non-creature spells with your opponent's cast with converted mana cost 4 or greater, cost 2 more to cast. Oh, that's not a bad suggestion. Castle Ardenvale. Do we have enough planes for it? We may not have enough planes for this. Unless we go like 12 planes, I think is not enough. Castle Ardenvale will come into play tap pretty often. Or maybe not. No, we have a Temple Garden, right? Castle Ardenvale just looks at any plane. So yeah, maybe this is possible. Maybe some Castle Ardenvales. I don't really have any other suggestions. Like, I don't know how to like make this like way better. You can experiment with other colors. My guess is you have to be patient at some point. Like, you put whatever number of creatures on the battlefield and then start attacking with them. And then you have to, when they try to go for the kill, like when they try to sweep your board, you play Heroic's Intervention. I don't know what else you have to do, though. I personally don't know what playing with this deck does. But I think the list is pretty clean. If control is the only deck that you're losing to, that's not too bad. But I guess in some way, you just look into your sideboard and see, like, what do I really need in this sideboard, and start replacing it with things that are more resistant to removal. Like, I think Heliod is a choice, Raiden is a choice, or experiment with other colors. But I think Collected Company is very good for this deck. Like, very, very, very good for this deck. Snow Mutable is very clunky. We don't have the mana base for it. The Branch Pathway, Sun Petal Grove, and Temple Garden just don't work. Splashing blue is possible, but then you dump the green. And also, this deck still taps out quite a bit. It doesn't really solve that problem. This deck needs Selfless Spirit, and we don't have it. Anyway, sorry I couldn't give better suggestions, but I hope something inspired you from the conversation and other people's comments. So good luck with the deck list, Gregor. Good luck with the deck list. Okay, moving on. Light. Flying Spirits. Hopefully they're flying compared to the non-flying kind. We got Flying Spirits by Light. It looks like, what is the format is modern? Is this, it has to be budget. It has to be budget. Okay, Mausoleum Wanderer, 4 Rattlechain, Selfless Spirit, Supreme Phantom, Drog Skull Captain, 4 Kira Great Glass Spinner. This is not the most budget card, but whatever. God's Willing, Path to Exile, Favorable Winds, Glacial Fortress, Island, Nimbus Maze, 6 Plains, 4 Prairie Stream. I guess this is okay. You might be just better off not having cards like this, though. No, maybe it's fine. Maybe this is okay. Nimbus Maze. If you control an island, or if you control plains. Like, these are sort of nombos with each other. Given you have 24 lands, you're only a 2-color deck, you probably can just get away with more islands and more plains in your deck. And it's probably still pretty consistent. You don't need double anything for many cards here. Disenchant, Remorseful Cleric, Unified Will, and Dismember. So this is definitely like super budget. I am not in love with God's Willing. I'm also not in love with Favorable Winds at all. Like, I'm not in love with these cards. Gaddock Teague? No, that was historic. Unless Gaddock Teague was... Well, the new Pathway is better than Prairie Stream, but this is budget. Is the new Pathway... cheap? How expensive is the new Pathway? Here's the blue-white one. Yeah, this is like money. You'll spend like $24 on your mana base. Although I have to say, like, some money is spent here. Like, Nimbus Maze is clearly worse than the Pathways. I would say sell the Nimbus Maze, get some of that money, put it towards the blue-white Pathway. I love Unified Will. Counters anything once you have a bigger board than your opponents. And that's the thing, like, Favorable Winds is not going to help you with your Unified Will. Oh, that's a great idea. I like that art. That's a great... Okay, instead of Favorable Winds, let's play Empyrean Eagle, which is a creature that actually is a lord for all your spirits. But it's not a spirit. Shit. Okay, hold on. I have to go. It's with a Y, right? Empyrean Eagle. Oh, they got a new art for it too. Came out in Kaldheim Commander. Flying. Other creatures you control with flying get +1/+1. And it's a 2/3 creature. This is strictly better than Favorable Winds. And it's really easy on the budget. It costs like pennies. Pennies! So that's a strict upgrade to this. The problem is Favorable Winds helps decks with removal. Because they like look at Favorable Winds and they're like, okay, I don't have to do anything to this. Then they'll just use their precious few removal on the things that do matter. Shacklegeist is also a good one. Instead of God's Willing, I might play with Shacklegeist. God's Willing is... you just gotta let your creatures die if they die. You just have to, like, just keep playing creative. Like, you have protection with Mausoleum Wanderer and Rattle Chains. God's Willing, I don't think is a good card. Play with more... I think Shacklegeist is great. This is a very strong card. Huge tempo swinger. Is the bird a spirit? Oh, the bird is a spirit. So I forgot. I didn't know about that. Or I totally forgot about it. The bird is a spirit. I thought it was just a bird. Giving flyers +1/+1. Siren Stormtamer is not bad either. Is there any room for it? So if we got rid of 4 God's Willing for... maybe we don't even need that many Shacklegeist. Maybe... do you know what? We don't need this many Kiras. This is a lot of Kiras in my opinion. Go down to 2 Kiras and then let's add some more 1-mana spells like... if we want maybe Siren Stormtamer. Because this is a legendary creature. You can't have too many of these on the battlefield anyway. Well, Spellqueller is great, but I'm sure this is a budget deck. It's clearly budget. Let's see. There's no comments here, but just based on like the fact that there's no Ether Vial... and stuff like that, this is clearly budget. I would go at least 1 or 2 less Kiras. How about 1 less Kira? Like, why do you need so much protection anyway? Protection. This is ultimate protection. You don't need so much. I like the rest. I don't know if you need so many Dismembers because you're already playing with Path to Exile in the main, so you could probably go down 1 or 2 Dismembers for something else. But I might have, I think Siren Storm Tamer is a very reasonable. It's not a. If you really wanted protection, I'd just get it in Siren Storm Tamer. Or I think a very reasonable card actually in this deck would be just what's the flying creature? What is the 1-drop? It was mentioned earlier. Spectral Sailor. I actually probably prefer this one as card advantage in the late game. And you have a lot of lands too, so we cut out some cards for some of these 1-drops, like 2 Kira for those 1-drops, and maybe okay, this was all going to be actually put maybe another 1 or 2 sailors for God's Willing, and then have anywhere between 2 to 3 Shacklegeist, and then instead of favorable winds, play with the bird, Empyrean Eagle, and we're good to go. Not a fan of Curious Obsession in these decks. Not a fan at all. Not a modern playable card. You're welcome, Pack. I know a lot of people love Curious Obsession. Does not work in modern, period. Barely works in historic. Oh, Moorland Haunt. This is how expensive. I bet that's a cheap card. 40 cents. Get like 2 of these in your deck. Really good card. For 40 cents, that is a steal. All the Spirit Masters play this card, and you don't have any other like non-basic lands. So like, I don't know, remove some, maybe an island and a plains, or maybe 2 Nimbus. I think you can remove maybe 2 Prairie Stream. I'm not in love with this card because you can't play it on turn 1. I think your mana is fine anyway. It's only a 2-color deck. Mana is not too taxed. And play some Moorland Haunts. I'm not in love with Port. Hold on, where's the Port Town? I'm not in love with Port Town personally, because you need to show them an island or a plains in your hand. You don't always have that. You have like Glacial Fortresses, Nimbus Mazes, Prairie Streams. I actually don't think honestly, if they completely remove Nimbus Maze, I guess it's better than nothing. It's still close. There's not many island. It's clunkier than you think. Like, it's a pretty clunky card. Colonnade is just not for this deck. That's just very clunky. Without Vial, this deck is not good. Well, it's budget, so they're just trying to play on a budget. That's all they're trying to do. The person's just trying to play some magic here, people. They're just trying to play some magic. Just trying to get something to go. Ghostly Pilfer? I don't know what this is. It's probably unplayable as a result. Pilfer. But let's look. Whenever it becomes untapped, pay 2 if you do draw a card. We can't do this in Modern. That's too clunky. It doesn't even have flying. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from anywhere other than their hand, draw a card, discard a card, can't be blocked this turn. It's okay, but we've got like the core of the deck here already, so it's no point in adding this. Oh, that's pretty good. But I think Unclaimed Territory is actually expensive. It's, it didn't get... Oh, no, it's not that bad. $2, but that still might... Well, at $2, it's cheaper than Nimbus Maze. But we need the white... Actually, do you know what? We need the white mana for Disenchant in the sideboard. And Path to Exile in the main. So it's not so clearly easy to throw this card in there. Maybe better than Prairie Stream, though. We don't need Spell Pierce. We have a lot of counter spells. Mausoleum Wanderer. Oh, actually, we don't have a lot of counter spells. Just Unified Will and Mausoleum Wanderer. I think we got some really good suggestions, though. I think those were some massive upgrades to the Spirit list on a budget. So thank you everyone for helping me out to solve some problems here, upgrade some deck lists, give that review. That's what we need. But that's it for today. If I didn't get to your comments, questions, or deck list, don't worry. We do this Monday to Friday at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. So be there or be square. If you want to find the replays, you can find them at Nikachu MTG streams. This is like my VOD dump YouTube channel, separate from Nikachu MTG, but affiliated with Nikachu MTG is Nikachu MTG streams. If you want to support Coffee and MTG, you'll love it. You want to support the channel and support helping all other people getting feedback and questions and being part of their daily routine. You can become a sub at twitch.tv/Nikachu MTG if you have Amazon Prime. Link your Prime account to your Twitch account. It's free. That's all owned by Amazon, and you can support creators for free. Well, free. You've already paid for the Amazon Prime. Don't leave that money in Jeff Bezos's pocket. Or you can become a patron at patreon.com/Nikachu MTG, or hit the join button on YouTube. That's also possible. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here today. I love that I am a part of your daily routine, but I just want to remind you that this show is nothing without all of you. If it wasn't for everyone bringing on the conversation, we wouldn't be having one. So keep brewing up that coffee, and we'll keep brewing up magic. See you next time.